Welcome to Blake's Den. Today I'm going to do another video on my trusty Westwood ride-on lawnmower. Unfortunately, it's not as trusty anymore. Using it the other day, cut the grass, running fine. Kept dying a bit, sort of bogging down and then stalling, but then it was running fine. Anyway, it cut out. I went to restart it. The engine was shaking uncontrollably and was spinning over really fast. That's never a good sign. I took the cylinder head off the other night and had a look at the piston. So I just turn the light on. There you can see is the piston. When you pull the starter, the piston should move. Can't even turn the starter over. Before, I did have a problem that when I first had the head off, the piston wasn't moving when the engine was turning over, which suggests the piston is no longer connected to the conrod, or the conrod is no longer connected to the crankshaft. However, don't know why, but I decided to push the piston in, and now the whole lot is jammed up. So that engine is toast, which is a bit of a problem because it's the middle of the UK summer here. I need to cut the grass every couple of weeks or so, so I need a plan B. Thankfully, I've got a plan B. And this is plan B. This is my other Westwood Gazelle W11 from 1983. I stopped using this because the engine lost compression. And this is the one I robbed the cutting deck off to fit on the T1200. I never investigated why it stopped working. So today I've just taken the cylinder head off to have a look. Two things strike me for a start. One, I don't think that cylinder head gasket was working. A hell of a lot of oil on that gasket and probably leaking past it, as you can see. And the second one is quite interesting. The exhaust valve was stuck open when I opened this up, which would explain why I'm getting no compression. Now, if I turn this over by hand, you see the valve, the piston come out, the valve go back in, inlet valve open, and then as I get further through the cycle, there they are, the exhaust valve opens again. There's a little ring inside there. See how that ring is loose? That had slipped forwards and jammed up against the valve. So, I don't know what's happened there. I don't know if that is a factory part or whether somebody has bored out the valves and reseated the valves. And the bore is absolutely, well, it's pretty impressive in there, I think. Looks pretty good. I mean, the piston's got a bit of coking on it and seems to be a bit of oil going in the bores, so whether there's oil, whether that oil is from the piston rings or whether that is from the gasket, I'm not sure. Well, actually, it wouldn't be from the gasket because there's no oil circulating in the head. So there's definitely oil getting in there, probably slipping past the piston rings. I can sort of live with that a bit, provided that it gets enough compression to run. But I need to investigate what's going on with this valve down here. You can see that ring there, I've just sort of popped it out with a screwdriver. I think it must be the valve seat. I'm guessing it's just undersized or the bit on the block is oversized. I'm wondering if I can just drift that in to see whether it'll retain itself and then spin the engine over a few times with the head off, see what happens. So I gently tapped that in with a screwdriver. I then closed the valve and just gently hammered the valve so that the valve was actually pressing against that ring. I then connected a jumper battery, spun it over a few times, and it seemed to stay still, which is good news. So, very quick and nasty test. I'm going to put that cylinder head back on, complete with that gasket, which isn't actually that bad when I cleaned it up. Put that on, compression test the engine. If I'm getting compression, then I'm going to push this lawnmower into action get all the bits I robbed off it back on it and start using it. I put the head back on, did a very quick compression test. It got 40 psi and then stopped climbing. Took the head back off, and sure enough, this ring is loose again. So I'm going to try a different technique this time. I'm going to push it back into the hole, get it in as far as it will go, and then I'm just going to hit with the center punch the edge of the block. So that'll slightly deform the block, hopefully enough just to increase the or reduce the diameter, just to bite that ring a little bit more. So yeah, I'm going to try that next. So there we go. That was what I was aiming for. Now when the valve goes back in, take it through a cycle. Yeah, that ring stays seated, it doesn't come back out again. So I think I might be onto the winner there. One thing I have spotted is when the exhaust valve is shut, it doesn't look to be the greatest of seal, so I might be getting a bit of leakage past there. But I'll pop the head back on, give it another test. Right, that's all back together. So let's try a compression test. You watch out whilst I turn the mower over. You ready? So that's not a lot of pressure, but it is pressure. So we're just under 40 or so psi. Doesn't feel that great, but it might be enough just to get it running. I'm very tempted just to drop the carburetor on it now, put the spark plug in, and see what happens. Certainly when you turn it over by hand, there's definitely some compression there. So yeah, let's give it a go. Right, carburetor's back on. I've just drizzled some fuel into it. It's actually got 2-stroke fuel in it, just to help with top end lubrication. I'm going to have to leave you there, and then I'm going to manually operate the choke, and I'm going to manually operate the throttle. So let's see what happens. I think that's a success. Right, the next job is to get it running a bit longer. So could do with changing that cylinder head gasket. I need to get that fuel pipe connected up to the carb. I need to get the throttle linkage connected up to the carb, the air filter on. It's also devoid of any steering at the moment, and it doesn't even have a steering wheel. So yeah, I'm going to have to get those bits done. Find the battery as well I had on this, get that back on charge. Then I can get it running for a bit longer, and I'll probably do that before I put the deck on. Just give it a good run, give it a drive around, check it's reacting fine under load. If it's okay, I'll run with this one. Fast forward a few days, got everything back together, got the steering back on, steering wheel on, carburetor's all back on, air filters on as well. So I'm going for the first start of this, first proper run with the carb on. So I've just filled it with fuel. That little knobby turn there turns the fuel on, so there doesn't appear to be any leaks, which is good. We've got the battery on. Yeah, I'll just check the oil. So this is still running on the original head gasket. What's that say? Yeah, that's full of oil. That's okay. Bit black, but never mind. Right, I just want to get this running. You've got an interlock on the cutting deck, which is that switch down there. So I've just wedged some pliers up against that at the moment to make it run, because the cutting deck is still off. It's another job to do. So that's in neutral. Check that's in neutral. No, that's in first. Right, that's in neutral now. So, will this run? Let's give it a go. So, choke's on. Come around here, do the ignition, and let's go. Ah, nothing. Right. Is that because that's... Right, okay. I've got a problem here. I think it might be that interlocking switch. Might be the problem. So let me just find something better to sort that out with. Right, yeah, I've just wedged that plier in a bit more now, so that should go. Right, let's give it a crank. Oh, bit of life. A bit less choke. Fantastic! So just going to throttle that back a bit. I'm just going to let it run, see how well it runs over time. Give it 5 minutes or so, and I think I'll probably give it another compression check. So I've had that running. It wasn't running too bad. It was bogging down a little bit under load. I think I know why that is though. I found that the carburetor was leaking fuel. I've just put a little rag under it to catch it. I don't know if the float's sticking or not. From memory, I think I had the same problem with this when it was working. So it could just be I need to swap to the other carb off the other Westwood, because I know that's good. Also, as I was filming, postman turned up, new cylinder head gaskets. So I don't know if that's good timing or bad timing. It only takes about 10 minutes to change the head gasket anyway. So okay, let's try a compression test with a warm engine and see what values we get. Wedge the interlock in position. The compression test is connected up, so let's crank it over and see what values we get. Ready? So what I've got to do there is fully open the throttle, so let me just open that up fully, make sure the choke's not on. Reset that, try again. I don't think that's too bad. That's definitely gone up from what it was. It's 75 psi. It still should be close to 100. Given that it's on that old head gasket anyway, I don't think that's a bad job. Still think that valve needs lapping in a bit as well. So when I get the head off, I think I will do that. But since it runs for now, I think I might just use it and see how it goes. Right, I'll get that carburetor swapped over. I'll give it another run and yeah, get the cut and deck on it. I've had to retreat indoors because it's raining so much now. I've swapped the carb over. This is off the T1200. It's the same carb, just two little set screws there and there. Little support bracket down there. Very straightforward. Right, I need to get this running right. So the carburetor has adjustment, so you've got down here, that's the mixture screw for when it's running, and then up here is the idle adjustment. So that's the idle throttle adjustment for the idle, you know, how much it stays open. That's the idle mixture. So I'm going to get this running, and then I'm just going to tweak around with these to get them feeling about right. Possibly had it too lean, I think, on the T1200, and I think that's one reason that the engines give up. I think it was a hot day, it'd been running for an hour, and it was too lean. So yeah, I'm going to try and get this set up right. Interestingly, the carb which was on, when I took the spark plug out to do the compression test, the spark plug was like, completely suited up, so it was definitely running far too rich. So let's see if it starts now. So I've got that running about where I want it. Idle's not great, but it will idle, but when you put the throttle all the way down it will die. So I changed the carb, I changed the whole air filter assembly as well for it to fit. Lots of faffing on with the throttle linkage. Basically on the arm on this carburetor, which does the throttle. There's 2 holes, and I had it in the top hole, but when I had it in the top hole, the throttle wasn't closing fully. So yeah, I've had to move it to that bottom hole, which allows it to close fully. So yeah, right, cutting deck on, and then once the cutting deck's on, I can give it a proper test under load. So the expression goes, fitting is the reversal of removal. In this scenario, removal is the reversal of fitting. So you've seen my video where I fitted the Gazelle deck to the T1200. I'm now removing it. I'm really pleased that I made it a fully reversible fit, so I didn't have to do any drilling or any modification. So I've literally just jacked it up, removed the threaded bar from the front, which was supporting it, disconnected the belt, and then that'll just pull straight off. In the next clip, hopefully you will see the Gazelle parked there in the exact same position, ready to get its original deck back on. And there we go, as if by magic, the Gazelle is in position. So I need to get the deck on. It's fairly straightforward to do. So you've got the hooks at the back there. They need to go over the bar to support it. And at the front, we've got that bar there. Needs to attach to that bracket there. So I'll lower the mower back down again, get that on. Luckily I kept all the bolts. The belt needs to go around the pulley as well, the engine pulley. What we do need to do is get the tension right, and you can select the tension you want by whichever hole you use there. So I think I'll go through the middle to start off with. And then you can fine tune the tension on the adjuster there, which rocks. But that's the engagement lever, which rocks backwards and forwards, and you can adjust the angle how much it swings by through that adjuster. Right, drop this down, get this on, and then give it a test. So I finished giving the mower its test, and it's cut the grass quite nicely, so very happy with that. Not running perfectly, but it's running really well. A little tappety, so I want to check the valve clearances and change the head gasket. It's probably for another video. Possibly a bearing going somewhere as well on the cutting deck. It was just grumbling a bit, but I'd say that was a fair success. So yeah, hope you've enjoyed watching that. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, and stay tuned for more videos.